Hello students, we have discussed in the previous video about the spermatogenesis. That was the process about the formation of the sperm. In this video, we are going to see how the ova is formed. So the topic is gametogenesis, but it was subdivided into two parts. That was spermatogenesis as well as oogenesis. Now in this video, we are going to discuss about the oogenesis, right? So what is oogenesis? Oogenesis is actually formation of mature female gamete in ovary is referred as oogenesis. Formation of mature female gamete, okay, is referred as oogenesis. Okay, that process takes place in the ovary, right? So this is the basic explanation of the oogenesis. Now see, it is generally similar to spermatogenesis, but oogenesis starts at early embryonic stage, right? So this begins with at early embryonic stage, and that also between the first, that is at 25 weeks old fetus. Okay, see, this begins at very early embryonic stage, then it gets suspended up to the puberty, and then it restarts. So this is the entire process. So let us discuss how it starts. Okay, no more oogonia is added after the birth. This is the basic thing. So let us understand. First of all, let's say this is a germinal cell. As I said, germinal cell is diploid in nature. Germinal cell is diploid in nature. This undergoes repeated mitotic division, and this phase is referred as multiplicative phase. This phase is referred as multiplicative phase or multiplication phase. This germinal cell undergoes repeated mitotic divisions. See students, if I say repeated mitotic division, that means gamete mother cells are going to be formed, and these are referred as oogonia. So what it will form? It will form oogonia, also called as gamete mother cell. This you have to remember. See, mitotic division, that is why it is also 2n. Okay, the chromosome number remains same. So this was the first phase. Now this oogonia, right? Out of this oogonia, some of the oogonia increases in the size. Okay, so see, we can divide it into two. Some increases, so let's say over here only, out of many oogonia, some increases in size, right? Let's say this is one, these are oogonias, all are diploid in nature, right? Some of them increased in the size. Okay, some increased in size. These are referred as primary oocyte, right? Those which increased in size are referred as primary oocyte. Okay students, so this is the first thing. Now those which are left, this is 2n again, right? Those, for example, if I say this has increased in size, okay, this one got increased in the size. So rest which are left, these are referred as follicular cells or granulosa cells. Okay, so these are the cells which gets surrounded around the primary oocytes. So these are the cells which are going to get surrounded around the oocyte. So these are granulosa cells or follicle cells, those which remain as it is. Okay, now let me say this oogonia formation occurs at this age. So let me write over here, no more oogonia is added after birth. So this is million of oogonias are formed right before the birth. Now this granulosa cells, right, so gets surrounded. So see, this we can study in the two ways. What happens to primary oocyte, that is the part of gametogenesis, but outside the primary oocyte there are the changes in the structures. So let's say, for example, this is a primary oocyte. Surrounding it there is arrangement of follicle cells, right? So this is this arrangement, right? This granulosa cell surrounds, this is the primary oocyte. Remember this. This is primary oocyte. Okay? Primary oocyte. Okay. Now this structure is called as primary follicle. This is called as primary follicle. Okay, students? Now the changes in this primary follicle. See, this primary oocyte condition is suspended at the prophase 1. It is suspended at prophase 1 at dikinesis stage. Okay. This primary follicle up to the birth, many primary follicles are formed. They undergo degenerations. Okay. So many of them gets degenerated. Now up to reaching from birth to puberty, primary follicle undergoes degenerations, right? Many primary follicles undergo degeneration. Only 60,000 to 80,000 follicles, primary follicles are left up to puberty. Okay, students, now see what happens. Those which are left, right, these primary follicles which are left undergoes further formation of cell layers, right? Follicle cells gets around surrounding the primary oocyte. Condition is primary oocyte, and further more granulosa or follicular cell gets arranged, right, leaving certain cavities, small cavities between the cells which is filled with the fluid. Okay, so this is called as secondary follicle, and a new theca is also formed. Okay, so new layer is also formed. Let's say a new layer is formed in secondary follicle. A theca, which is a group of cells called of having endocrine function. So in secondary follicle more layers of follicle cell and theca is formed, right, which is theca is formed. Now this theca is endocrine in function. What happens to this? After this, secondary follicle. Okay, secondary follicle will get converted into tertiary follicle having a characterized space called as antrum. Okay, is having a characterized space referred as antrum. Okay, so this is antrum, fluid filled space, and this is the layers. Now theca is in the tertiary follicle. See, condition of the primary oocyte is as it is, right? That starts or restarts the meiosis, will continue the meiosis, right, at the puberty. But what is the structure? This is maturation of primary follicle, and then it will undergo meiosis. Okay, so theca is differentiated into two: theca interna and theca externa. So when I talk about the tertiary follicle is having a fluid filled space referred as antrum, surrounding the primary oocyte, and cell layers referred as follicle cells as well as theca. So this is the structure. Then this tertiary follicle matures into or transforms into, see, at tertiary follicle, now this primary oocyte undergoes unequal meiosis division, unequal meiotic division, to form two unequal cells. One small, right, meiotic division 1, that means chromosome number gets half. So this is tiny polar body, right? Okay, tiny polar body, and still we are not knowing what is the fate of this tiny polar body. It is uncertain, so we will not discuss about it as it has been noted in the NCERT, right? And one large which retains the bulk of the cytoplasm and nucleus is secondary oocyte. See, polar body becomes haploid, secondary oocyte also becomes haploid. Now tertiary, this is primary oocyte, now has been converted inside it, around in the follicle, right, is converted into secondary oocyte, and tertiary follicle transforms into mature follicle referred as Graafian follicle. This converts into Graafian follicle. Okay, now it is ready to release this ova, release the ova at stage called as secondary oocyte. Ovum is having which stage? Secondary oocyte. Okay, now what is the fate of this secondary oocyte? Depends on the sperm. If sperm is fertilizing the secondary oocyte or it fertilizing the ova, at the same time it will continue the meiotic division 2. Now in case of this Graafian follicle, right, the ovum will form a membrane around it called as zona pellucida, right? Okay, so during this transformation of the, say, Graafian follicle, ovum forms. This is left formation of before release. Okay, before ova will form, ova will form membrane or secondary oocyte. Let's say it is in which state? Secondary oocyte will form membrane zona pellucida. Okay. Now this Graafian follicle releases at this stage, releases ova from ovary right, after at every month. Okay, so this is the stage. Now the completion of meiosis depends on the sperm. Completion of the meiosis depends on the sperm. Let's say how. If sperm is penetrating the ova, then it will continue the meiosis 2. So meiotic division 2 will be dependent on the sperm. If sperm is not present, then it does not complete the meiosis 2 and it simply degenerates. So secondary oocyte completes the meiosis 2 in presence of sperm, let's say. Then again second polar body will form. Okay, second polar body will form, and this will result in the formation of ovum. Okay, so this is ovum, and ovum is also haploid. This secondary polar body is also haploid. So this was about the oogenesis. As we have discussed it one by one, let's say oogonia are formed at the starting stage, at the embryonic stage, when the fetus is up to 25 weeks old, right? These oogonia are also referred as gamete mother cell. Out of this many oogonia, some oogonia increases in size, which are referred as primary oocyte. Those which are left are referred as follicle cells or granulosa cells. This gets surrounded around the primary oocyte, and that structure is referred as primary follicle. This primary oocyte is suspended at meiotic phase 1, prophase 1, at dikinesis stage. Many of the primary follicles undergo degeneration, that is called as atrophy, right? Some of the primary follicles are left, that is 60 to 80,000 follicles are left, right? This up to the puberty. Now more amount of granulosa or follicle cells gets around, and a thicker layer is formed. After that, a characterized fluid-filled cavity referred as antrum is formed. This gets transformed into Graafian follicle, where at tertiary stage, this primary oocyte completes its first meiotic division. When it completes the first meiotic division, the secondary oocyte is formed, which forms a membrane called as zona pellucida. After this, the fate depends on the sperm entry. If sperm is present, it is ready to fertilize. When it fertilizes, secondary oocyte instantly undergoes the meiosis 2 to form ovum and haploid polar body. So this was all about the oogenesis. Thank you. The last part of the oogenesis is the structure of the ovum. Okay, so students, if we think about the structure of the ovum, ovum is a non-motile gamete. Non-motile, does not move from one place to another, and it can be spherical or oval. Spherical or oval. Now students, if we think about this, the size is 0.2 mm in diameter of the ova. Okay, so ovum does not contain or does not surround by shell, right? So this ovum is referred as non-cladoic. Non-cladoic means without shell. Okay, as well as this also lacks yolk, and that is why it is called as alacethal eggs. Alacethal egg. Okay, or ovum. So this is the first basic information of the ovum. Each ovum is surrounded by four layers. Okay, so let's say this is the ovum. So our innermost layer is plasma membrane, right? Each cell is surrounded by plasma membrane. Attached to it there is another layer referred as second one, thin vitelline membrane. Vitelline membrane. Okay, students. So this is the innermost first. Outer to it is vitelline. Then there is a glycoprotein rich layer. Third layer is zona pellucida. Zona pellucida is glycoprotein rich layer. Remember, this is non-cellular. This is non-cellular layer. Right? It is not made up of cells. Outer to it is a layer of cells forming corona radiata. These cells are follicular cells. This layer is referred as corona radiata, and this corona radiata is formed of follicle cells. So total there are 4 layers, right? Innermost, that is plasma membrane, inner to it is vitelline membrane, then zona pellucida, and fourth one is corona radiata. Okay, students. So this corona radiata, follicular cells or follicle cells are attached with one another by hyaluronic acid, and that is why there is a requirement of hyaluronidase enzyme to penetrate the sperm into ova. This cell which are bound with the hyaluronic acid should get digested, and so that sperm can make the entry. So today's oogenesis topic is completed. Thank you.